Good morning, honorable members. Let us take this opportunity to have a moment of silent prayer or meditation. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Honorable members, we want to remind you to please mute your mic all the time unless you are going to be addressing us. Let's get to the second item on the order paper, obituaries. It is with profound sadness that we formally note the passing away of Mr. Mluleki Ezekiel Ndobe, the KZN Legislature Deputy Speaker, an upright leader, a deep thinker, and a true servant of the people, who passed away on Friday, the 6th of November, and was laid to rest on Saturday, the 14th of November, 2020. We also note the passing on of Mrs. Happy Zulu, mother to Mrs. Samgelisiwe Dlamini, who's the questions coordinator in the legislative operations, who passed away on Thursday, 5 November, and was laid to rest on Sunday, 8 November. We note the passing on of His Royal Highness Prince Mwu Twala Zulu, the firstborn son and eldest son of King Goodwill Velithini Kapeki Zulu, and Queen Sibongile Dlamini, who passed away on Saturday, the 7th of November, 2020, and was laid to rest on Friday, 13 November, 2020. Also note the passing on of the esteemed outgoing Auditor General, Mr. Kimi Makwetu, who served this country with dedication, distinction, and with great integrity. Mr. Makwetu passed away on Wednesday, the 11th of November, 2020. We also note the passing on of the former Nelson Mandela Bay Mayor, Mr. Mongameli Bopani. Councillor Bopani of the UDM passed away on Wednesday, the 11th November, 2020. On behalf of the legislature, may I take this opportunity to request all of the members to remember all those who have succumbed to the COVID-19 pandemic and to keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Honorable members, let's not forget to be forever grateful to all our health practitioners and related fraternities for their continued dedication and diligence towards their work despite the challenges that their disciplines bring. They are indeed our true heroes and heroines. In the same breath, let's also put our members, staff, and their families, and all those in their social circle of influence in our prayers, and all those affected and infected by the COVID-19 pandemic. As members, we must continue to encourage people in the spaces around us to observe and strictly adhere to the alert level 1 disaster regulations applicable to all citizens by wearing of masks and issues of social distancing and sanitizing. Honorable members, at this juncture, let us observe a moment of silence for all the departed souls that we mentioned, and also those that we may not have mentioned that have perished on our roads and elsewhere in the province of KwaZulu-Natal and the country at large. May their souls rest in peace. Amen. Let's move to the third item, which would be the announcements. Honorable members, on item 3, which is announcement, we'll start with the ruling on virtual sittings. You are reminded that this virtual sitting will be conducted in terms of the rules for virtual meetings read with our existing standing rules. In terms of Rule 6 of the rules for virtual meetings, the quorum requirement for virtual sittings of the House are provided for in the Constitution and the standing rules of the KZN Legislature. Standing Rule 44 of the standing rules provides as follows. At least 1/3 of all the members of the legislature must be present to constitute a plenary meeting of the legislature. The rules for virtual meetings also define present as follows. Present means the attendance of a member in a virtual meeting by electronic means in a manner that allows the member to join and participate in the meeting. The Secretary has confirmed that we have the required 1/3 of members present in order to commence with the virtual sitting. The sitting is therefore properly constituted. We go to party voting. Rule 7D of the rules for virtual sittings also note that the presiding officer must before or at the start of the discussion on the matter expressly inform members if a party vote will be taken. So, honorable members, in line with the above, I confirm that the debate and voting on the Traditional Courts Bill B1D 2017 and the voting thereon will be done on a party-by-party basis. A party vote is a collective vote on behalf of all the members of a party present at this virtual sitting up to the total membership of that party in the sitting. However, I will allow an opportunity for any individual member to vote differently from his or her party or to abstain if any member wishes to do so. We will now proceed with the rest of the matters on the order paper. 3.2 is apologies, honorable members. The first apology is Honorable Ms. N. Dube-Ncube, MEC for Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, which is due to an urgent meeting called by the Premier of the province scheduled at the same day and time. Will only join the sitting later. Honorable R.R. Pillay, MEC for Finance, who also has an unavoidable commitment. Honorable Mr. M. Bintuli, MEC for Transport, Community Safety and Liaison, he has a government engagement. Honorable Ms. H.S.G. Mavimbela, MEC for Arts, Culture, Sport and Recreation, who's attending the Economic Governance School in Gauteng. Honorable Mr. L.M. Mayor, he has a party engagement. Honorable Ms. N. Dlamini, she has a commitment. Honorable Mr. M.E. Pagati, he has a family commitment. Honorable members, today, the 17th of November 2020, is His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa's birthday, as well as Honorable Ms. S. Thakur Rajpanjis. May I take this opportunity to wish the President of the Republic a happy birthday, as well as Honorable Thakur Rajpanjis, and hope that they both have a fabulous day. Honorable members, I also wish to acknowledge the 168 years arrival of the indentured Indians in South Africa, which the celebration was held yesterday, the 16th of November 2020. May this contribute further to the cohesion of South Africa and the building of the Rainbow Nation. Honorable members, over this period, we would like to congratulate Banyana for the record win of the 7th COSAFA Women's Cup title. South Africa claimed the COSAFA Women's Cup for a record 7th time after defeating Botswana 2-1 in Port Elizabeth on Saturday. Congratulations to our national women's team. We also request members to remember to email their speeches to the Hansard team. Honorable members, I might not see it on the written announcement, but we also congratulate the Bafana national team for having won the 2 back-to-back games in their quest to qualify for AFCON. We congratulate them for representing the nation. Now we will move to item number 4, announcement by the Premier. The Premier has made a call earlier on to request to do this at the end of the sitting. So can we go to item number 5, tablings? We have received from the KZN Legislature the budget performance in-year monitoring report for the month of October 2020. From the Department of Arts and Culture, we have received the annual report for 2019-2020. The AMAFA KwaZulu-Natal Annual Report 1920. Department of Social Development, we have received the annual report for 1920. Department of Human Settlements have also tabled their annual report for 1920. Department of Finance have also tabled the Treasury annual report 1920. Department of Public Works have tabled the first draft annual performance plan 21-22. Department of Agriculture and Rural Development has tabled the draft annual performance plan 2021-22 and the first draft 2021-22 MTEF budget. Is there any other tabling that we may not have recorded on the tablings that we have just read out? May we give that opportunity for any tabling that is not recorded there? I note that there is a hand that has been raised. May I give you the opportunity?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I didn't hear you tabling on behalf of COCTA Portfolio Committee our report. I would like to take this opportunity to table it on behalf of the COCTA Portfolio Committee of KwaZulu-Natal. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Sinkosi. The report is duly tabled. Any further tablings, Honorable members? Thank you. Now we will move to item number 6, formal motions or notices by the Chief Whip. Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. There are no formal motions and notices from our side. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, honorable members, we will move to the orders of the day, item number 7 on the order paper, the debate and voting on the Traditional Courts Bill. We are going to call upon the acting chairperson of COCTA, Honorable Sinkosi, to give us the report of the Portfolio Committee for 5 minutes. Mhlonishwa Nkosi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. My mic was not open. I'm very, very sorry for that. Honorable Speaker, we are tabling this report as we have indicated earlier on in terms of Section 42, subsection 4 of the Constitution of the Republic, which provides that the NCOP represents provinces to ensure that provincial interests are taken into account in the national sphere of our government. It does this mainly by participating in the national legislative process and by providing a national forum for public consideration of issues affecting the provinces. This Traditional Courts Bill, which is a Section 76 bill in terms of our Constitution, was referred to COCTA Portfolio Committee in terms of the rules of this legislature. The bill seeks to, among other things, provide a uniform legislative framework for the structure and the functioning of traditional courts in line with the constitutional imperatives and values, and to provide for matters connected therewith. We want to indicate, Speaker, that the committee was briefed by the officials of the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development in accordance with the Rule 2421 of Section 118 of the Constitution, which compels the legislature to facilitate public involvement in the legislative and its other processes and its committees. Having considered the nature of the bill, the committee resolved that we needed to comply with the provisions of Section 118 of the Constitution. Then with the traditional leaders and national communities within the province of KwaZulu-Natal needed to be consulted. We started the consultation in November 2019, where we went to 7 districts in 2 groups. We went to Mzinyato, Tugela, Ilembe, Umkhanyakude, King Cetshwayo, Herigwale, and Zululand. In all the public hearings, a presentation on the bill was done, and thereafter a session of questions and inputs was open to everyone in attendance. In considering the negotiating mandates from all the provinces, the Select Committee did not accept the inputs from KwaZulu-Natal and the reasons given were that there was no need for such proposals as the bill was premised on restorative justice and cooperation of parties is important. Furthermore, the operation of traditional courts needed to be differentiated from the conventional courts. Well, this is what is the issue that we want the honorable members to understand, which made us uncomfortable. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, the Committee on COCTA met on Friday, the 13th of November 2020, to deliberate on the responses from the Select Committee on Security and Justice. The committee raised the following concerns. 1, none of its proposals was admitted. 2, the financial implications of the bill were never explained, although we understand some could be taken by the national government, but it might involve COCTA for coordination. 3, this arrangement may result in unfunded mandates which may lead to irregular expenditure. In the light of the above, Honorable Speaker, the committee recommends that the Legislature of KwaZulu-Natal must confer authority on A, the KZN provincial delegation to the NCOP to cast a vote against the traditional courts bill at the relevant NCOP Select Committee. B, the head of the provincial delegation to the NCOP or a delegate designated by the head of the delegation to cast a vote against the traditional courts bill at the NCOP plenary. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. We think the debate is going to reveal the reasons why we are uncomfortable. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable. There is an honorable member that asked to speak. I don't have to repeat this every sitting. Immediately you hear that there is an honorable member that is speaking or hello during a sitting, you mute that person. Let us now go to the next speaker. The first speaker will speak for 7 minutes. Honorable M.A. Chiliza of the ANC. Honorable Chiliza.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, the Premier and the House. Madam Speaker, as the Chair has outlined the overview, so I'm going to outline the clauses of this traditional court bill, which its main objective is to provide uniformity in the country in order to line the traditional courts with the constitutional imperatives and values. Its main aim is to replace the Black Administration Act of 1927, and it was first tabled in the National Assembly, but later it was withdrawn due to some criticisms and again brought back to the Parliament, into Parliament in 2017, and it was finally passed by National Assembly in March 2019. Hence, it is now before the NCOP. The institution of proceedings of this bill is that any person can go to the constitutional court, to the traditional court, on any dispute. The traditional leader or his or her appointee can preside over the proceedings, and the issues that cannot be dealt with in this court are clarified in the bill. This court allows both men and women to attend, and it must also take seriously the recommendation of the issues of Gender Equality Commission. There must be a clerk appointed or seconded by public service. The nature and procedure of the traditional court is covered in details in the traditional courts bill. The orders of the traditional court is that it may issue orders, and that order can be payment of damages, and the clerk must enforce those orders. The provincial registrar must be appointed by the Minister of Justice in consultation with COCTA MSC, and the dissatisfied parties, Madam Speaker, may go to the High Court for reviewal. And also any aggrieved party may refer the order to the magistrate to hear the matter and give any order. The bill is very clear on the procedure of record keeping, Madam Speaker. Matters outside traditional courts must be transferred to the competent courts, which is mostly the magistrates, which must do it afresh. And Madam Speaker, no one is liable for anything done or omitted in good faith. The Minister of Justice must compile the Code of Conduct in consultation with COCTA MEC and the Justice Minister. Yes, in consultation with COCTA MEC and the Justice Minister, Madam Speaker must also develop regulations in consultation with COCTA MECs of provinces and also the National House of Traditional Leaders. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The next speaker for 5 minutes is Honorable PATN Mwu Twala of the IFP.
Honorable Speaker, thank you. Honorable members, good morning. The IFP understands that the main aim of this bill is to regulate traditional courts.
Honorable, now you are on. Now you are on the view. We can see you. We can continue, Princess.
Honorable Speaker, the IFP understands that the main aim of this bill is to regulate traditional courts and forums in resolving disputes and to ensure that they function in the line of the South African Constitution. The IFP fully supports the bill, which will finally make traditional courts the courts of law, by fully recognizing the powers and role of traditional leadership in communities. The IFP fully recognizes the powers and functions of traditional leadership and believes that this bill has been long overdue. Since the advent of our democracy in 1994, traditional leadership in South Africa has never been given the recognition through effective legislation. The IFP has always been advocating for amendment of this constitution to give effect to the actual recognition of the powers and functions of the traditional leaders in the country. While this bill is a step in the right direction, the IFP still reckons that it is not enough. Therefore, the IFP calls for the following. 1, the effective recognition of the role of traditional leaders through continuous improvement and empowerment of traditional courts or provincial houses of traditional leadership. 2, the provision of research support, content advisory support, and other professional support to make these facilities effective. 3, to see traditional courts being empowered and infrastructure maintained to ensure excellent services are provided to communities. 4, to call for the benefits of traditional leadership, including pension allowances and medical aid, to be implemented as it is in the case with all other government employees. 5, therefore must also be enough financial support for traditional leaders, just like there is a budget allocated for magistrates. Therefore, we are saying the government must recognize and empower traditional leadership through provision of necessary funding and tools of trade. Tools of trade should ensure that traditional courts are inclusive in the language used during the proceedings by ensuring that there is an interpreter services available for the plaintiff and accused where necessary. Lastly, we call for a full representation of women in traditional courts in order to promote the right of equality as contemplated in Section 9 of the Constitution. In conclusion, Speaker, we believe that the government should enforce and support rulings made by traditional courts so that they can be effective and efficient for the people in the communities. The IFP fully supports the bill. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Princess Mwu Twala. The next speaker for 4 minutes is Honorable Mwu Twala of the DA.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is no secret that the role of traditional leadership is very important, particularly in our province, and that if we want to continue as a society that recognizes diversity, we need to negotiate our shared values in a way that aligns with the natural justice and our Constitution, as well as the rights of all citizens. When our Constitution was formulated, the role of provinces was made sure to be sacrosanct to being able to contribute to the role of national legislation. And one of those roles is mainly to safeguard the fiscus of our province. It is for these reasons that the Democratic Alliance today will not be supporting the bill. Firstly, it is unfunded, and as a portfolio, we have raised this, wanting to understand exactly how it will be funded, given that KZN already has unfunded obligations when it comes to traditional leadership. Until there is surety of how this particular bill would be funded, it is imprudent of us as KZN to be able to allow for it to happen and to pass as it is. Secondly, none of the amendments from KZN were taken into consideration, therefore undermining our role as a legislature and the ability for us to put forward our views. Not having any of our amendments looked at, I believe, and the Democratic Alliance believes, has made this bill inoperable to a large extent, because we've asked really important questions as the committee. As a Democratic Alliance, we also asked for the explicit outlining of the equal rights and status of women in the bill, which we do not feel has been particularly taken into consideration or has been rectified as the bill stands right now. And we know that some of these cultural practices will be able to be blurred, and some of which are patriarchal in nature, and so the status of women will continue to be one to be seen lesser than men in some of the instances. So until that is rectified, we cannot support this bill. Lastly, it is unclear how enforcement is going to take place with regards to certain roles that the traditional leadership will be given to be able to enforce some of the restorative justice that they say. If somebody has to pay damages, what is going to be the enforceable nature of making a young man who might not have a job pay damages to a woman that he's gotten pregnant? Obviously, none of these questions can be answered by us as the legislature, because we have put them to be forward for consideration, but we wanted to understand how enforcement would take place, because ultimately the problem will come back to us as a legislature when some of these problems arise. I think it must be important to note that it's also no secret that many positions of traditional leadership have also become incredibly politicized. Until we are able to make sure that the bill specifically and explicitly can ensure the neutrality of whichever traditional leader is taking out a matter, I think that it is, again, unwise for us as the legislature to support it, because what we'll have is basically the continuation of people in positions of leadership being able to, I suppose, use their political alliances to neutralize others. And that is incredibly worrying. We also would like, as a Democratic Alliance, to have the bill be explicit in its reference to the legislative areas which are excluded from the ambit of traditional leadership. We've obviously heard that the bill will be able to give restorative justice of sorts, but it isn't clear which parts wouldn't fall under the bill. So sexual offences and distinctions between criminal and customary can become blurred with some of our customs and our traditions and our practices. If that is not clear in the bill, it really gives a large scope of some issues being taken to traditional leadership, which actually may be criminal matters that should actually be taken to a court and an authority that actually can have some criminal repercussions. So until we are able to see that that bill is going to be able to explicit in its reference to the areas that fall outside of the ambit of the traditional leadership, we are also uncomfortable as a Democratic Alliance supporting the bill in its current nature. And lastly, as I've said, the bill, previous iterations of bill made effectively women into perpetual minors. And though some of those aspects have been taken out of the bill, there still isn't enough of, I think, an explicit reference to making sure that women will be protected. Because we know that the reason that we're having this discussion now is because of the last bill that happened, which was under... Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I was saying as your thank you, Honorable Member. The next speaker for 3 minutes is Honorable Mwu Twala of the EFF. Honorable Twala of the EFF.
Honorable Speaker, Mr. Twala is having the problem to connect, so he has asked me to read his speech.
No, Honorable Njali. It's Honorable
Yes,
Njali.
Honorable. Honorable Speaker.
It's the second time that the EFF is doing things that the way that are not done. We have not received that, and according to the rules, it says that we must make this happen. I don't know whether you are or it's the rules that are explained. The last time I was speaking to Honorable Member that we must clarify that you must take us away when you are saying the speakers. Are you doing it intentionally? The rules that escape you, Honorable Member?
Honorable Speaker, it's not done intentionally. I just received the speech because it's serving the problem.
You must request then. You must not just come here. You must request, Honorable Member. You must request to take over the speech of someone. You must request to invoke the rule because you can't stand on the podium without invoking a rule. There is a rule that provides for you to do that. It's Rule 73. I am indulging you. Invoke Rule 73 when you are standing there. I'm being generous, just giving you the rule to invoke, Honorable Mtshali.
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
No, I'm
Thank
giving
you very much.
No, I'm giving you Rule 73. Invoke the Rule 73. There you are. Invoke Rule 73, Honorable Member.
We request, Honorable Speaker.
You are granted, Honorable Mtshali. You must know that in the legislature, we work on rules.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Greetings, Honorable Speaker and honorable members. The initially present on the idea justice and dignity for the poor. We previously dejected and the greatest victim of apartheid policies widely yield the need of the bill. However important is to address and correct the crisis of law system that invalidated customary and capacity. The lack of correcting 400 years of colonialism and apartheid and ultimately decolonization must never be haphazard practice. Let it become a task that robs the already oppressed from free and fair practice of monetized justice. Plan to empower customary practice and indigenous capacity must be married with sufficient skill, expertise, and institutional knowledge and capacity to ensure justice and the best legal service and process are exclusive to those that are beneficiaries of land dispossession. Society is ridiculed by spatial apartheid policies, inequalities that impact on development. This lack of development has far-reaching impact on the very values of constitutional imperatives. At present, we cannot separate the poor quality of livelihood of people in the rural areas. When we discuss the legacy of poverty Black people inherited from the administration of John Foster and the Colonial Project, the legacy has meant that though there exists traditional leadership that is accessible, the substance of traditional leadership and counsel is grossly wanting, under-resourced, unequipped, and unable to uphold constitutional values. The flexible of customary law is equally coupled with the lack of constituency of practice. These things are the backbone of common law and legalization, which is what entails good practice and that people are protected and treated fairly before the law. As important as it is to empower customer practices and traditional court, we must not be obviously to the fact that traditional courts, even in the new dispensation, are the guide by the sanction and resolve of traditional leadership who have not shown or been trained in the ability to separate personal bias and resolve from standing disputes.
The time. The next speaker for 1 minute is Honorable VR Mlotshwa, the NFP.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. As NFP, we accept and support the bill. We welcome and favour Section 7.3, subsection A, that women, as parties to any proceedings or members of the traditional court are afforded full and equal participation in the proceedings as men are. However, there are concerns as to how can the bill make certain and sustain gender equality with proper accountability, especially in deep rural areas where women are treated as inferior to men. As the bill seeks to promote and protect vulnerable persons, it is a constitutional imperative that traditional courts, tribunals, and forums must promote the values that underline an open and democratic society based on human dignity, equality, and freedom. We are confident that the bill is intended to improve access to justice.
The next speaker is Honorable Esther Rajpanzi of the MF for 1 minute.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The Minority Front supports the Cocktail Portfolio Committee view on the Traditional Courts Bill as amended. Although the MF acknowledges that the amendments ensure methods to enforce traditional courts' decisions and disputes through higher courts, however, concerns arise in terms of the composition of the courts and the specific training for traditional leaders in constitutional law. Other gaps are delegation and separation of powers, the exclusion of legal representation, mandatory manual recording of proceedings, and jurisdiction of traditional courts in terms of criminal matters. Further concerns are women's disempowerment. We want fees to be waived for women and children because they cannot go through other Chapter 9 institutions which take a long time. Furthermore, there are diverse cultures in South Africa, and we would look forward to a transformed traditional court that can assist many different cultural groups to make informed decisions. Furthermore, we cannot support this bill because we cannot afford this bill. These are the main reasons why the MF does not support the traditional courts bill in its current form. Thank you.
Honorable Thakur Rajpanzi. The next speaker for 1 minute is Honorable M.E. Phakathi of the ATM. He is not in the house and he has invoked Rule 73 and is requested Honorable Manqele to present on his behalf. Honorable Manqele on behalf of Honorable Phakathi for 1 minute.
Good morning, Speaker and the members of the Legislature. Yes, I have received the request from Mr. Phakathi to read his speech, but up to this far, I haven't received his document. Madam Speaker, I'm sorry that I was not able to read it.
Thank you, Honorable Manqele. Therefore, the ATM does not have a speech to be presented. Now we will move to the next speaker for 1 minute, Honorable S.E. Manqele of the ACDP for 1 minute.
Greeting against Madam Speaker. We as ACDP are welcoming the bill. We are pleased that more women and other vulnerable groups are able to participate freely, both as litigants and the members of the court. This will also assist in curbing and eliminating the gender-based violence in our area. We applaud the traditional court in the role they play for speedy, cost-effective dispute resolution and restoration justice. Most financially should be allocated to the training and workshop of the traditional leaders so that they will be able to understand, know how to do their function or their job effectively. With this few words, Speaker, we accept the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker for the ANC has got 7 minutes. Honorable S.M. Sonjita. 7 minutes. Honorable S.M. Sonjita.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to the honorable members. And Honorable Speaker, the ANC history shows that it was intertwined with the strategy of the land, which was waged by Amakhosi throughout the whole of South Africa and the whole continent. The ANC and Amakhosi over years and today are like the same side of the same coin in championing the rights of our people. The ANC notes this bill and finds out that there are many issues.
Honorable Sanchita, please. Oh, Honorable Mangale has muted himself already. You can continue.
My time, Speaker.
We immediately, honorable members, when we call upon you to stop, we have paused the time. You don't have to remind us about that. We know that is part of our job.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The ANC notes this bill and finds out that there are many issues which need to be worked out. The ANC is concerned with what may appear as unfunded mandates, which may create challenges in the near future because we will have rushed to pass this bill. As Honorable Tiliza has mentioned, a number of positions which must be created when this bill becomes law. It talks about the clerk of the traditional court who must be appointed or seconded by the public service. Such clerk will need to be paid and enjoy all benefit enjoyed by public servants. This needs clarification before the bill becomes law. Honorable Speaker, the fact that this bill has been around for so long shows that there are some issues that remain unresolved. One of them is that women need to be guaranteed of equality in treatment with their male counterparts. We all know that gender equality is still not achieved in many parts of this country. There needs to be clarity on how poor will access the high court in case the poor will access the high court in case they are dissatisfied with the decision of the traditional court. We all know that going to high court costs a lot of money. This needs to be clarified, which is not, and it must not be ambiguous. Oral Speaker, the bill talks about the appointment of provincial traditional court registrars, who needs to be appointed by the Minister of Justice, but we don't know where the money will come from to pay them. Our economy is struggling to grow as fast as we would like it to grow and create such positions. Creating such position will eat up to the shrinking fiscus already. The department needs to clarify first how will the perception be removed if a member of the community opts not to go to the traditional court. How will the perception that such individual undermines the traditional court will be eradicated while one exercises his or her right? This will cause unnecessary tensions in the communities and area of that needs clarification. This is an area that needs more clarification. Honorable Speaker, there are cases which appear in the schedule to be tried in the traditional court, which are very serious, like theft, assault, and others, which must not have found themselves in this bill. The list goes on, Honorable Speaker, and thus the ANC is going to persuade this House not to support this bill in its current form. Therefore, the ANC today will not be supporting this bill, Honorable Speaker. I sincerely thank you for your time.
Thank you, honorable members. We now call upon the acting chairperson of COGTA, Honorable S. Nkosi, for 5 minutes to respond to the debate. Honorable Nkosi.
No, sorry, Speaker. This mic is controlled somewhere. That's why then one has to wait for a very, very long time. No, Speaker, thank you very much for allowing this debate. We are going to make some highlights as per the arguments that have been raised by our colleagues in favor or against. Firstly, we would want to thank Honorable Tiliza for giving us such a good summary of the content of this bill, especially the structures and the appointments that are inferred in this bill. If in case it passes, that is a very, very important point which you mustn't miss. The second issue is that such structures and appointments will require money. We have to be realistic about that. But what Honorable Tiliza and Sonjita and other colleagues are arguing, including Honorable Ntuli and the Minority Front, is that we are not told about the source of that particular money. These are fundamental issues as far as my interpretation is concerned. I would want to indicate that I understand clearly the call that is made by Honorable Telezi when she was debating here. But the main point that she raised is the issue of the amendment of the Constitution. My general knowledge is that the Constitution is the main law of the land. Other laws are deriving their power from the Constitution of the Republic. Then that point of the amendment of the Constitution, I could hear it very, very well. Then, which means that if you pass this bill at the moment without clarifying these things, then you might run into a crisis. There is a point that someone mentioned, I can't remember which honorable member, that if Nkosi goes to the traditional court and then the order is made and Nkosi is uncomfortable, he has the right to go to the High Court. Do people go to the High Court free of charge? This is another fundamental question if we all represent the poor. Then I also want to indicate that I understood very, very well the argument of Honorable Ntuli. Have never agreed with her on many issues as it has happened of today, which are the things that would require the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development to clarify. I understood the debates by the EFF, Minority Front, and the NFP, but there is a call, first things first, according to my own interpretation of their own arguments. Sonjita's position of the relationship between Amakos and his party, we who are history teachers know it very, very well. It dates back even the formation of his party. And the letter of apology that was sent by our own king, is documented. There is no one who can dispute that unless you are having your agenda of sending the wrong impression, which is not backed by history. Then the funding issue, Honorable Speaker, around the question of the salaries of these clerks of the traditional courts. And mind you, these colleagues of ours who will be employed will be public servants. The issue is, when you pay them the salary, won't you be expected to pay them the benefits that other public servants enjoy and all the stuff? I understand this thing of the provincial registrars, but can't it happen like the Izinduna proclamation, that the law is or proclamation is made nationally, but the funding happens here? I'm just referring to what is called the provincial registrars. Then the Department of Justice must turn around. These people are serving you as provinces, therefore you must pay them. So, and the issues of perception that Honorable Sonjeta indicated, goes in terms of this bill, has a right not to accept going to the traditional court in terms of the law, that if it passes. What about the perception? Won't Inkosi Mdluli perceive that Inkosi thinks that is bigger than us as traditional leaders? These are the issues, Honorable Speaker and honorable members, that we need to consider. That's why then I would advise the House, after hearing the debates, that it would be proper for us to make sure that these things are clarified first, and then when they are clear, and then we talk about the passing of the bill. That would be the advice from the acting chairperson of the COCTA Portfolio Committee in KwaZulu-Natal. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members. Thank you to you, acting chairperson. Thank you to all the honorable members who participated in the debate, starting to the portfolio of COCTA who participated in the entire hearing, including the previous term's portfolio committee, because This work had started not only in this term, it stems back to the previous term. We appreciate all of you, honorable members here and those that are no longer members in the current term. Thank you for the work that you've done in this. We've now come to the end of the debate on the Traditional Courts Bill, B1D 2017, and the House now needs to confer a final and voting mandate on the bill. As per the request of the Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Committee, I now put the question to the House, which is as follows. The KwaZulu-Natal Legislature agrees to confer authority on the KZN Legislature, KZN Provincial Delegation to the NCOP to cast a vote against the Traditional Courts Bill B1D 2017 at the relevant NCOP Select Committee. And 2, the head of the provincial delegation to the NCOP or a delegate designated by the head of the delegation to cast a vote against the Traditional Courts Bill B1D 2017 at the NCOP plenary. As I indicated prior to the start of the debate, I will now go party by party to obtain the vote. Thereafter, check if any member wishes to record an individual vote. We have done the head count, honorable members. We currently have 61 members. ANC has got 33, IFP has got 11, DA has got 9, EFF has got 5, NFP 1, MF 1, ACDP 1 in the House. No, so now we're going to go party by party. IFP. Do you vote? We are now coming to you on your vote.
Honorable Speaker, the IFP votes for the bill. Thank you.
Did you hear the question? The question is, say, the KZN provincial delegation to the NCOP to cast a vote against the Traditional Courts Bill at the relevant NCOP. To the NCOP or by the question against the Traditional Courts Bill. So you are voting yes or no to those questions, Honorable Kunene.
No.
You vote IFP no. GA?
Thank you, Speaker. We support the recommendation of the committee, and therefore we vote for the resolution put by the COCTA committee.
EFF? Thank you, Honorable Rogers. EFF? Where is EFF?
Yes, thank you, Honorable Somloma. No, EFF iyahambisana ne-committee. Thank you.
Thank you, EFF.
EFF ngathi yadunguzela nje.
NFP?
Ntombi ngiyakhuza.
NFP?
NFP goes with the committee. Thank you.
I think it's better to say yes or no so that I don't get accused of interpreting people as having said yes. So,
yes.
Yes. NF? Thank you, NFP. NF?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
ACDP? ACDP? Baba Manele, are you voting no or yes? Honorable Manele of the ACDP? Has he been disconnected? He was counted when we were starting the voting. He was still connected. He's still connected, honorable members. I don't know. Nova uconnectile kodwa uthathe shelele eyitolo. Ngicela ukubuyela ngaye.
Tolo.
I-ATM ayikho.
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker,
Yes,
I'm
yes,
sorry, I had a technical problem. I'm sorry. I take the advice of the committee, then I say yes.
Oh. ANC?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. ANC, yes, to my recommendations, the committee.
Thank you to all of you as parties. Now, I have the vote of all parties. Is there any members who wishes to express an individual vote that is different from their party vote or to abstain? Is there any individual member who wishes to express an individual vote that is different to that of the party vote or to abstain? If there is none, Secretary? Kunomuntu okhulumayo ofuna uku-offerisha i-individual vote? Is there someone offering an individual vote? I therefore request honorable members not then to try and interject at this moment. Secretary, are you able to tally the votes?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The votes are as follows. Those in support of the question, the mandate as presented, is 50, and those against is 11.
There are no abstentions.
No abstentions.
Honorable members, I therefore declare the result of the vote is as follows. Votes in favor 50, votes against is 11, no abstention. So we have it, honorable members. Therefore, the item on the order paper concerning the mandate on the Traditional Courts Bill is concluded. KwaZulu-Natal will vote against the Traditional Courts Bill at the next sitting, or the mandate. That is the mandate for KwaZulu. It's the Traditional Courts Bill. Thank you to all parties for participating and ensuring that this debate is carried in a manner that is truly democratic and open to all of us. Now, honorable members, can I check whether now that we've come to the end of the process that you are here, I'm giving you an opportunity to make the announcements before I finalize.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I believe I'm audible and visible on your side. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I wish to once again present myself and present my apology for joining the sitting late. Thanks for allowing me to make these brief remarks or announcements. The first, Honorable Speaker, today and tomorrow, our country holds the third South Africa Investment Conference in an effort to promote South Africa's economic outlook and attract investment. Government is targeting 1.2 trillion in fixed investment over the period of 5 years. And since the inaugural conference in 2018, about 650 billion has been committed to by investors to this president-led initiative, and some of that have came here in KwaZulu-Natal. Delegates from our country, our continent, and from across the globe will be participating in this investment conference. The province of KwaZulu-Natal will also participate and use the conference to drive investment in key sectors of KwaZulu-Natal economy and boost economic recovery and job creation. Given the current COVID-19 challenges, the conference is largely virtual and will be live streamed. Honorable Speaker and members, between the 25th of November and the 10th of December 2020, South Africa and the province of KwaZulu-Natal will participate in the United Nations 16 Days campaign, properly known as the 16 Days of Activism for No Violence Against Women and Children. The scourge of GBV has become a crisis and a pandemic in our country. Hence, our government is implementing the National Action Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, which His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa announced last year in September. Addressing the nation this last Wednesday, President Ramaphosa declared that for 5 days, from the 25th up until the 29th of November, South Africa will observe a period of national mourning for those who have lost their lives due to COVID-19 and those who lost their lives because of gender-based violence and femicide. The South African flag will fly at half-mast, and to show solidarity, the President has urged the nation to wear black. We will use 16 days of activism against gender-based violence to intensify our 365 days of activism for no violence against women and children in KwaZulu-Natal.
I need a parent to interview and possibly that child. I can create a...
Sorry, Premier, about that.
Thank you. Honorable members, I also wish to remind this August House of the people of KwaZulu-Natal of the following important commemorative days. The first is the World AIDS Day on the 1st of December. The second is the International Day of People with Disabilities on the 3rd of December. And lastly, the International Human Rights Day on the 10th of December. Honorable Speaker, we wish to inform honorable members of the legislature that after consultation, we have resolved to augment the composition of the Executive Council. In this regard, MEC or Honorable Nomsa Dube-Ncube, the leader of government business, has been appointed as MEC for Finance, and Honorable R.R. Pillay, who has been MEC for Finance, has been appointed as MEC for Economic Development, Tourism, and Environmental Affairs. As I conclude, Honorable Speaker, we wish both MECs a success in their responsibilities to fast-track radical socio-economic transformation in KwaZulu-Natal. We wish to take this opportunity to wish the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, a happy birthday. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. The House is adjourned until the next sitting on the 24th of November 2020 at 10 o'clock.
Order, Madam Speaker.